Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to another Theme Park Obsession video. My name is Dylan. As you see, I'm back in the Theme Park Obsession office, but this time it's a slightly different office, a slightly scarier office, because we got the two classic monster posters behind me. But today I'm talking about Epic Universe. I was able to go to Epic Universe in its preview days. My good friend out there of 14 years actually invited me out to a employee preview with them, and man oh man, do I have so much to talk about. So in today's video, I'm going to give you my first impressions, my thoughts, my little reviews on things. The park is not finished. It officially opens up on May 22nd, so things are going to change. So everything that I say in today's video is not going to be like my final thoughts on stuff, because I know things are going to be changing down the line. But without further ado, let's dive into Epic Universe. Now, first and foremost, before we get into the nitty gritty about the park, I just wanted to give a huge shout out to my good friend that invited me out to the preview. I will not name their name, but I know they're watching right now. So again, thank you so much for the opportunity. I will definitely remember this day for the rest of my life. It was so much fun to spend time together again after I think like a year and a half. It was the last time we had hung out, and we hung out at Islands of Adventure for a very brief moment the last time I saw you. So yeah, no, this was an amazing experience, and to be able to share this moment of a brand new theme park with you and a couple other folks was just so much fun. We actually go back quite a bit. Yeah, we've known each other for 14 years, for those that are wondering the relationship here. And we actually worked at Halloween Horror Nights together back in 2011. We worked together in the Alice Cooper haunted house, Welcome to My Nightmare. And this person betrayed me in 2012 when they went to a scare zone. They ended up working the witches scare zone that was right next to the second Alice Cooper haunted house that they did in 2012. But yeah, I've known this person for so long, super talented, and has worked in so many other parks around the country and has lived in Orlando for quite some time. So yeah, this person texted me and was like, "Hey, you're going to Epic Universe, right? Like, do you want to go to Epic Universe?" I'm like, uh, heck yeah. Is that even a question? So the whole entire experience was amazing. And again, I will remember it forever. So it's cool that we got to see the park together in this state. So I can't wait to go back again with them and a bunch of other people and enjoy all the changes that the park's going to have. Okay, let me start off with Celestial Park and just the park entrance and all that jazz. So we parked uh, in the monster section, rightfully so, and we got everything together. And yeah, very active construction site. They're still working on a lot of things in the park. So for those that have gone to the previews, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And that's where the expectation is, right? Like, I'm not expecting a product that's going to be absolutely finished and polished and all that kind of fun stuff. I am expecting something that's still being developed. As we were walking up, you can start hearing the music, and the music sounds amazing. And you kind of walk through these little garden areas. There's a lot of trees, and then you turn a corner, and then you see the ticket area, and you can kind of see the Kronos off in the distance, and then the Helios Hotel off in the distance. And at this point, I was already like, I can't believe I'm here. Like, I cannot believe that I am walking through this park right now. It's unreal. You know, for so long, for so many years, we've been watching this on social media, you know, through aerial images and things that Universal has posted on their end. And to like walk up to the park, I was like tripping out. I was like, this doesn't even feel real right now. This feels like I'm in some crazy dream. And we made our way up to the security checkpoint, which is all under the same canopy as the where you scan your park tickets. That whole process was seamless, just like all the rest of the security at Universal. It's super easy. Just put your stuff through the metal detector, you're good to go. And then at the counters where you scan your tickets, same setup like Islands of Adventure and Universal Studios, where you just kind of stand in front of the camera, it scans your face, and you're good to go. It was so easy, and we were in into the park and through the security and ticketing area within just a few minutes. It wasn't that bad at all. And then you're met with the Kronos, and you're in Epic Universe. And the Kronos is definitely a little smaller in person, I will say that, but I kind of dig that it's not as like massive as we all kind of thought. At least I thought it was. It looks really cool. And the music kind of gets a little louder in this area, and you start to see more of the gardens, like the greenery and stuff, and it just feels calming. I think that's why I didn't initially start bawling my eyes out. I was kind of shaking and my heart was racing because I was just so excited. But I think with the music and the setting that this is all in, it really does kind of keep you calm. There's no I wasn't feeling stressed or anything. It was really well done. And the Kronos tower wasn't moving, so they were still working on that when we were there. But we walked through the portal, and the portals are like insanely huge. The portals, I feel like the portal itself was like more grand than the Kronos tower. So the portal is just gorgeous. The details in the portal are so like intricate, and they have sound effects when you're walking through it, and there's lights on the ground and everything. It was really well done. And when you walk through the portal, it spits you out into the Celestial Park, and you see the Luna statue, which is massive. She's way bigger than I thought. And below her are these beautiful cascading waterfalls. And the sound of that water with the music and the greenery, which will eventually grow in. The park looks a little naked right now, but that's because they just planted all these trees. It's going to take a couple years for things to kind of really grow in. But like with the sound of the water and everything, I'm like, oh my God, this is stunning. It's beautiful. Like I just feel like I can sit down on a bench and just enjoy. Like I can just enjoy the water and the atmosphere. Like I am a huge sucker for water fountains, and Epic Universe, like they were like, no, we're gonna have water features all up in this thing. And it was gorgeous. It was absolutely beautiful. Shout out to whoever is the designer of the soundscape and the sound systems, because top tier. The park has like this bass sound to it, and the music itself again was really calming and ethereal and celestial. Like it's very spacey. Uh, yeah, it was really cool. We ended up going left. There's two ways you can choose. You can choose left or right. If you go right, you're going to be closest to How to Train Your Dragon Isle of Berk. If you go left, you're closest to Super Nintendo World and Dark Universe. We decided to go left because Dark Universe was going to be our first destination, but I'll talk about Dark Universe a little bit later. I'm just going to kind of go in a different order here. And walking underneath those canopies that are very Tokyo Disney Sea-ish, like on not Disney Sea-ish, Tokyo Disneyland, when you're walking down their main street, their bazaar area. Very similar canopy situation going on there, and I loved it. A beautiful green, like a seafoam green color on all that steel work, and the signage on the gift shops, like some of it was moving and some of it was like lighting up. Really well done there. Again, it feels like, I don't know, it feels like it's all hugging you. It's all very intimate. It's a combination of being wide, but then also like you feel cozy. I really enjoyed it. And we walked through that little gift shop area. The chocolate store or the candy store was closed, where they have the Captain Cacao, that beautiful that beautiful little bear they got. That he's so cute. People were eating him up, by the way. They were buying that bear left and right. Universal's going to pay for the dang park off of Captain Cacao for sure. I would be shocked if he's not a walk around character eventually down the road. Like he is Universal's Duffy, 1000%. It's Duffy. And so we walked past that, and on the right you can see the Atlantic restaurant, gorgeous set up there. It's layered. You walk up the stairs into the restaurant, and we did go to that restaurant later on in the day, but that restaurant inside was, oh my God, it was beautiful. The beautiful blue colors, and the blue mixed with the dark wood accents around the restaurant was stunning. And what I loved was, yeah, you walked up the stairs into the restaurant, and that's where the bar is. That's where the main bar, and you're more than welcome to go up there and sit at the bar and have a drink. You don't need to have a reservation. At least that's what they told us, to go sit at the bar. And they have these like beautiful seahorse statues and everything. It's like um, one of my my buddy's friend said this is kind of like Ariel's Grotto, but like bougie Ariel's Grotto and like way better. And I was like, oh, absolutely. This is the Ariel's Grotto that should have been. Like this is something you would see coming out of Japan. You know, like this. It's beautiful. It was beautiful, and the restaurant, like the seating area where you would dine, sits below the bar. So like that, you then walk down a set of stairs and into the dining area. And y'all, that dining area with the fish hanging down from the ceiling and everything, it's so beautiful because they have these massive windows and like you look out into the water features. The water goes right up against the restaurant, and when you're sitting down there, all you see is the water features. And I was like, imagine just chilling in here. Like you're just either you're dining downstairs or just even at the bar because you can still see the water features. But like what a great place to enjoy and relax and enjoy the AC and just feel at peace and calming. You know, these feelings of just like, no, we can relax in here. It's cool. Those water features just add so much to that restaurant. I knew it kind of would, but I wasn't expecting that much of an impact. Atlantic is really well done, beautiful restaurant. On the other side of Atlantic, there's an open space. There's like an expansion plot that looked a little jarring because there's just nothing there, and the sight line there is pretty intense. But they were planting trees, and those trees will eventually grow, so it'll look fine. You can see the Mario Kart attraction show building from that vantage point as well. But again, the trees will grow, and it'll eventually block all that here in the next like probably year or two. Now, the outside of Super Nintendo World, they have this like big wall that's painted green. That wasn't as crazy jarring as I thought it was going to be because like from the aerial images, I was like, ooh, that's going to look interesting in Celestial Park, right? Because you have this beautiful garden setting with then this jarring, huge green wall. And no, it really wasn't. It blended in nicely. And then like I didn't really pay attention to it because I was so focused on like because as you turn the corner, you see Atlantic and then more water features, and then that pathway that kind of leads down to the bottom of the water features, which was closed because they were still putting in some stuff there. So yeah, you kind of totally forget about that sight line. And it all just kind of works. And again, the music gets louder over here, and they might be screwing around with the audio levels, but I kind of hope it stays where it's at in Celestial Park because it was gorgeous. Like, and there's so much music. Apparently, there's like 14 hours of music that they've done for Celestial Park, and it was all beautiful. It was magic. It really was. Um, and as you traverse Celestial Park, it's very easy to navigate the park. You know how to get to the different portals. You don't feel lost in Celestial Park at all. It was very well done. And what else did we do in Celestial Park? Oh, we ate as you kind of traverse past Super Nintendo World. You stumble upon where Pizza Moon is, and that's where we ate for lunch. We were trying to figure out what we wanted to do. I was like, you know, how about we do Pizza Moon? Like, let's check that out. Pizza Moon is so cool. Pizza Moon was cooler than I thought it was going to be because you walk in and beautiful blue setting. Um, I'm not going to spoil too much, but it it just felt again peaceful to sit in there and enjoy a meal. Pizza, by the way, was really good. They're like personal size pizzas, but this one was a little bit larger than like your normal size personal pizza that you would get. This was like a full on. It was a big meal. I was full for the rest of the day. Like I could have maybe tried something else, but we just didn't really have time. And I was like, oh, like I'm satisfied. Pizza was really good. I tried the barbecue chicken pizza. It was like the shredded chicken. I could have done without the potato chips on top. They were okay, but they didn't really add anything to the pizza, in my opinion. But the pizza itself was really flavorful. I would totally get that again. And everything was discounted for us. They were doing like a 50% off or whatever for team members and their families for food. So I think normally price it's going to be around like 18 or 19, so a little pricey, but honestly, not bad considering how much food there was. And there's some really cool things that are happening inside Pizza Moon that are very pretty, very pretty. The inside color choices that they chose are perfect. And it all kind of ties in to the rest of Celestial Park. Like there's a lot of like deep storytelling happening in Celestial Park, and I could see people like wanting to spend time to really understand some of the lore. But Pizza Moon is a go-to. Definitely sit in. I think there was some outside seating. I couldn't tell, but just go in and try to sit in the center. If you try to sit in the center, that's really cool. It's a really awesome quick service place. And again, they use the uh, method of ordering your stuff on the app, and then you scan the QR code at the table, and then the team members bring you your food. Super easy. I got the barbecue chicken. My friend got pepperoni pizza, said it was really good. Other friend got pepperoni, and then the other friend got the ravioli. I think it was like a ravioli and then a Caesar salad. And all of us really loved the food. It was like a knockout of the park. We also tried the Celestial drink in Pizza Moon at the Coke Freestyle machines around Celestial Park. They have a specialty drink that's just for Celestial Park. It was okay. It was kind of like an orange Fanta with some other type of flavor. I didn't know what the heck other flavor it was, but would I get it again? No. Uh, but I'm glad I tried it because I was like, dang right, I'm going to try the Celestial soda. Some people will probably like it though. If you're a fan of like, it almost kind of tasted like an Aperol spritz, like a virgin Aperol spritz. That's like what it reminded me of. So overall, Pizza Moon, fantastic. I definitely want to try Atlantic though next time because we just didn't have time to eat there. As you go past Pizza Moon, you're approaching Dark Universe, and then you have the Tiki Bar over there, Celeste Tiki, Starbucks. There's a stage which is very in the sun, so that's pretty much all of Celestial Park. So bring your sunscreen because the trees haven't grown in yet. Just brace for it. I did. I was lathering myself up because I knew what I was getting myself into. I was like, I need to wear some sunscreen today because I'm going to be burnt. Because yeah, it's a brand new theme park. The trees are just not ready yet. With that said, though, there's still a lot of beauty with the greenery in Celestial Park. But we did try Celeste Tiki. We actually got shots there, and it was great. It's a cute little tiki bar. It's not very big, so don't expect this massive in the round thing. It's very on par with the size of the bars at Volcano Bay, so on the smaller end. And the pina colada there, oh my goodness. That thing, you would have, you'll be doing the celestial spin on the ground. That's how much alcohol was in the pina colada. So shout out to the person mixing that because holy moly, that was a very strong. I put the cup up to my face and I could already smell the alcohol and I was like, oh my god, this thing is intense. But overall, cute little tiki bar on the other end of Celestial Park, where Meteor Astro Pub is, which looks really cool on the inside. Um, very simplistic in there. I would say that the Atlantic and Pizza Moon places are a little bit more detailed, uh, with more theming bits. The Meteor Astro Pub kind of reminded me of almost like a station, like a not like a train station, but it just had that kind of vibe to it. And outside there was another bar called Bar Zenith. Same sort of circumference on that one too. So like a same size as like any of those other Volcano Bay bars. We were trying to try something there, but again, we just didn't have time. That was the one thing we were fighting with all day was the time in the park. You can spend so much time just in Celestial Park alone. That's how good Celestial Park is. And then as far as the attractions, we did ride Constellation Carousel. It had like a 5-minute wait, so we jumped in. That thing is massive. From the air, I was like, okay, this is a big carousel. Oh, dude, it is like when you walk into the line's open air, but you walk up to where the turntable is, and it's like you could fit a city in there. That's how large it is, and there's a huge centerpiece, and the music they have for the carousel is so good. It's a little different from the music in Celestial Park, but kind of similar vibes. It almost had like an EDM kind of vibe to it. It was great. I loved it, and the carousel itself was a lot of fun. For those that get motion sickness on carousels, I have a feeling you'd be able to handle this one. But my only advice is you sit on the outside, the largest turntable with the outside animals. The turntable is set up very similarly to how like the Mad Tea Party, the teacups are, where there's a large spinning turntable, and then there's three smaller ones. There's three smaller ones that hold the teacups. So the carousel is almost identical. There's a larger table with some animals on the outside, and then there's three smaller tables with a set of animals on those, and those tables spin a lot differently on their own thing than the larger turntable does. So just keep that in mind. If you are motion sickness, I would sit on the outside most animals because it doesn't really spin all that fast. Like, and you're so distracted with everything else. They like the water, you can see the water from the water features in Celestial Park. And the space is so open air and large that I feel like there's a nice breeze coming through. So I don't honestly don't think people would get motion sickness on it at all. The animals do rise up and down, but extremely slow. And all the animals sit a minimum of two people, which is really cool. So you could have your young one in front of you and you can sit behind them. And the seat belt, like the restraint, is like a normal seat belt. It's not like the old school carousel where it's like, all right, just kind of sit on it and we'll see what happens. Like, no, this is a full-on seatbelt that goes around you, like like a seatbelt like on Tower of Terror, and you pull on the yellow tag, and it's like you're locked in it because you do raise up and down. But overall, yeah, a perfect ride, especially for the kids. Doesn't go fast at all. Probably the slowest carousel I've been on, which is a good thing. Is for those that get motion sickness on them. It moves slower than the carousel at Disneyland and Walt Disney World, and it even moves, it moves even way slower than the teacup ride. So yeah, it's very doable for pretty much everybody. Okay, let's move on to Stardust Racers. Oh my God, Stardust Racers. Green side on Stardust Racers, it's my new number one. That is the best roller coaster I've been on so far. And I know some people are going to disagree and whatever. That's fine. But for me personally, just for me, that is my new number one. It beat out Velocicoaster by just a hair. And there are a few things why, but for me, the overall experience, it was just. I remember we took off and we actually rode the yellow side first, which is amazing too. Don't get me wrong. The yellow side is just as bonkers. I think there's like an additional couple airtime hills on the green side that you can really feel. So that's why I kind of like that one a little bit better. But we first walked in. Pretty simple queue, by the way. It kind of gave me Rip Ride Rocket vibes. There's a huge canopy. It's really open air. There's really not too much theming going on. It looks gorgeous, though. It looks like a train station. That's, again, the vibe I got. Very similar to the Meteor Astro Pub kind of vibe. Uh, Subway station, train station, something along the lines like that. That's what I was getting from that queue. Uh, Really large extended area. The lockers are really well done. They're two-sided lockers, just like Velocicoaster, but instead of scanning your ticket, they scan your face. So you just stand in front of it, scan your face, and then the locker opens up. Easy, super easy. Everything goes in there. You go through a metal detector, just like a Velocicoaster and Hulk. And oh man, the Stardust Racers ride was so good. It was so good. Started off with yellow, sat back row, and then our other two friends. I sat with my one friend, and then other two friends sat in the front on yellow side. And we took off. And in the launch tunnel, I'm not gonna spoil the launch tunnel, but there's there was a surprise down there I was not expecting, and I like just out loud I was like, "Holy shit, that was so cool!" And then you go right into the layout, and the airtime was nuts. The airtime is insane. You're not even in your seat. on that ride. And you can hear the music because it does have a soundtrack. And I know a lot of people have commented on a possible rattle. It's not noticeable. Like, it's really not bad at all. If you've been on Manta at SeaWorld San Diego, which is manufactured by the same coaster manufacturer, I would say it's even less than that. Like, it's really not bad. I would say Velocicoaster's probably got more of a rattle than Stardust Racers does. That's my opinion. If you can handle Stardust Racer or Velocicoaster, and especially like Hulk, Stardust Racers is a walk in the park. Like, as far as the bumpy stuff is going on, really smooth. Stardust Racers is smooth. I've been on quite a few roller coasters around the world, and Stardust Racers is very smooth. And after the yellow side, we did the green side, and again, just I couldn't believe how awesome that ride was. And what really sold it for me was not just the airtime and the speed and everything, but the dueling element with its sister train. So the second half of the layout, you really feel the dueling moment. And it's like you're so close to the other train that it looks like you can like high five people, and you can hear the other people talking and stuff too. That was amazing. If you've been on Twisted Colossus at Magic Mountain, the one really great thing about Twisted Colossus is when it duels. When you get a perfect duel, it elevates the ride experience to the next level. On Stardust Racers, I feel like it's programmed to duel every single time. And that the finale on that is and you're hauling ass through that second half of the course. And the dueling is so good. It is so good. And that's what brought it to my number one. I was like, you know what? We did it 3 times that day. And I was like, this is it. This is the best roller coaster I've been on right now. And I'm sure there'll be another one that I go on that's even better. But for right now, from the coasters I've been on it, which I believe that one was 196 something. I'm almost at 200. I think my 200th coaster is probably going to be at SeaWorld Orlando. But yeah, out of all those coasters I've been on, it's my number one. It for me, it goes green side Stardust Racers, then a yellow Velocicoaster. Like, I'm talking a hair under it. They're both amazing. And then Iron Gwazi. Those are like my top 3. Well, top 4, because Stardust Racers is 2. Incredible. Incredible roller coaster. If you're a coaster junkie, you love airtime, and you love dueling another train next to you, you're going to love Stardust Racers. It's so good. I mean, again, we went on it 3 times, like 3 or 4 times. And every single time I got off of it, I was like, that was awesome. That was, I would, the minute they add Epic Universe to the annual pass, it's game over. I'm going to be running to that ride. I'm going to be running to Stardust Racers and just marathoning that thing. Which some people probably can't marathon it because it's a very long roller coaster, which I loved. But it's intense. It's pretty intense, and some people might get motion sickness because of the amount of airtime. But I loved it. Oh my God, and then the near misses. So there's a near miss in the second act, right after the Celestial Spin, which, by the way, awesome. That Celestial Spin on green side is probably my favorite. On yellow side, it's pretty good too. Yellow side, it's great in the back row. Yellow side, back row, Celestial Spin, God tier. But I believe, I forgot what track goes over, but there, after the Celestial Spin, you go up and you do this massive turn towards like How to Train Your Dragon, to where you start to do near the end of the layout. That near miss, oh my God, it was so good. It even scared the out of me. I put my hands down a little bit because I'm like, oh my God, that near miss was that illusion was insane. Obviously, I'm not going to hit my hands because they test this thing like crazy, but it even got me, like a seasoned coaster guy, that near miss spooked me because that was so good. It was so good. And then it just there's music everywhere, and it's just, yeah, it's an amazing roller coaster. Love Stardust Racers. They were still working on the Astronomica little fountain area, which looks really cool. Kids are gonna love playing in that, especially on a hot summer day in Florida. And that was pretty much all Celestial Park. Beautiful area. Wear your sunscreen right now, though, because the trees are still growing in. There's not a lot of shade. But with that said, it is a calming, peaceful atmosphere with beautiful music. The fountains add so much, especially with the fountains. I'm glad that Universal is spending money on that kind of stuff because the water adds so much to a theme park. And like the fact that they're going to get rid of it at Magic Kingdom, the Rivers of America, it's a bummer. Because when you see it at Epic Universe, you see these massive fountains. You're just like, dang, this is beautiful. It's stunning. It really is. It's a very European inspired, beautiful setting that's calming, peaceful. It you want to sit and enjoy. You want to just take a breather and enjoy your surroundings. That is Celestial Park. Really well done. Really, really well done. But let's move on to the second world in the park. Let's talk about Super Nintendo World really quick. I'm going to be really quick with this one in general because I've experienced Super Nintendo World here at Universal Studios Hollywood. This is just a huge version of it. They have all the games. It's incredibly colorful, just like the other Super Nintendo Worlds are. Like an idiot, I totally forgot my power-up band. So we didn't get a chance to play the games. I was like bummed out. I was like, dang it, I should have brought my power-up band so I could get some points. The portal into Super Nintendo World is really cool. The ground, by the way, extremely vibrant because from the air, from BioReconstruct's photos, I was like, oh, they're painting the concrete. It looks really pretty. But in person, you're like, holy moly, that is a rainbow. Cool. This is awesome. But you walk into the portal, beautiful portal, and the portal's color inside on the LED panels is green. And it all kind of like blends together with the green warp pipe. It gives it this really cool like backlit effect. And then you go up the escalators, which I do love the touch underneath the escalator handles. That light was green. So I do appreciate that. And that effect in the warp pipe is a little bit different than the one in Hollywood. It's not the rainbow effect. So you're going to have to go to Epic Universe to see what kind of effect they're doing in there. And then you go up through the warp pipe and it spits you back out into the Mushroom Kingdom. And yeah, colorful, massive, a lot more space to walk around for sure. It's in 2 layers. So there's a lower level and an upper level. The upper level has a lot of the games and the entrance to Mario Kart, which had like a 70-minute wait. So we weren't going to do that. I was like, no, I'd rather just spend more time in Celestial Park or the other worlds that are unique to me. After that, we walked downstairs into the Donkey Kong area. Donkey Kong area is awesome. That was my first time seeing Donkey Kong, as I haven't seen it in Japan yet. The transition into Donkey Kong was really cool. It went from like a brick texture to a rockwork texture, big portal, and then boom, right out into the jungle. The trees need to grow here as well, so give that time. But I love the kinetic energy that the Donkey Kong coaster gives that space. It is awesome. It's so cool. And the waterfall off in the distance coming off of the temple was beautiful. Again, water features. We love water features, and pretty much every world has a water feature in it, even if it's just a tiny little thing. But in Donkey Kong, it was a massive waterfall. Music here was very loud, and we were joking about that. We were walking through, like, wow, Super Nintendo World's got some loud music. So they're definitely toying around with the music in Super Nintendo World as well. Now, with Donkey Kong, I was super stoked for it. We got in line, and it had a technical issue. Again, the whole park is in technical rehearsals, so I'm expecting stuff like this. We left, came back later in the day to try to ride Donkey Kong, and it did it again. So unfortunately, I did not get a chance to ride Donkey Kong. So I was definitely bummed out about that. I was like, dang it. But it looked amazing. It looked great. Everything about Donkey Kong, I think it's going to be super popular. I think the land in general is going to be really popular with people, the Mushroom Kingdom and Donkey Kong Super Nintendo World as a whole. That was actually one of the spots that people went to first when Epic Universe opened for the morning. A lot of team members and their families beelined it to Super Nintendo World. I mean, rightfully so, though. We're spoiled in Hollywood. We already have a version of it. Granted, it's the smaller version, but a lot of us have already seen it out here. So I can see why a lot of people that haven't seen Super Nintendo World in general and haven't been to Japan would want to go check that out. And the payoff is great. Super Nintendo World's beautifully done. Nintendo and Universal have done a great job. It's everything you would expect. There's a lot of kinetic energy. It's colorful. There's a lot of things to play and interact with. And the rides are fun. The rides are really fun. We didn't do the Yoshi Omnimover attraction either. It looked super cute though. It looked really, really cute. The line was just really, really long. And again, it's one of those things where I'm like, you know what? I'd rather just go elsewhere. I can come back to Epic Universe and try to ride this at another time. But yeah, Super Nintendo World. There's an exit on the lower level too, so you don't have to try to figure out where the heck you're going. The exit is super easy to find, and it was pretty efficient. I had no issue navigating Super Nintendo World at all. Let's move on to How to Train Your Dragon Isle of Berk. This land was stunning. The reveal is very grand. It's very open. You walk through the portal, again, beautiful LED display in there. It's orange, and you can kind of hear some sound effects, and then it spits you out into this, in front of this rock, uh, this like big stone piece that had carvings, like some writing on it. I did not read that because I was so distracted with everything else beyond it. And you walk around that rock, and you see the mountain range off in the distance, and the roller coaster going by, the huge lagoon, and the big giant statues, and it's magical. Then you hear the music from the film, really well done. This entire land reminded me of like a Toontown, so very colorful. There's a lot of things going on. That it's kind of like that in the same sort of genre. The kids are going to eat this up. I mean, oh my God. Get ready, parents, because your kids are not going to want to leave this land. Like this world, there's so much going on. It's massive too. It's really big. The water ride was closed. I believe it's called Fire Drill. That they were still working on that. They were still adding a lot of elements to that. It looked really cute though. I actually liked the look of it more in person than I did from the aerial images. There's a lot of those targets that you can spray with water, and there's a lot of areas that I can see people getting completely drenched. So we were going to be on the fence about riding it anyway if it was open, because I'm like, I don't know if I want to walk around sopping wet today. I kind of want to enjoy the other things in the park. But yeah, really cool. The play structure area, like if you walk into the land and you go towards the left, there's a big like play structure, very intricate there too. Really, really cool. There's a lot of sightlines in How to Train Your Dragon Isle of Berk. I wish they would have continued some of the rock work around the mead hall, because when you're in line for the Hiccups wing gliders, you can see the back of the building and stuff. And maybe it's not finished, but to me, I feel like it's pretty much finished, and there's no trees over there. So I'm like, dang, like you might be able to see the back end of that building. And you can see Stardust Racers. That might be blocked out by more tree growth. There's a lot of trees in How to Train Your Dragon that when they eventually grow, the land's going to look even better. But there was a couple sightline issues that I was noticing that I'm not the biggest fan of, because I'm also like a nitpicky theme park nerd. But overall, that's not to say Isle of Berk was horrible. Isle of Berk was it was beautiful. It's huge. It's stunning. We went on the Hiccups Wing Gliders, fun roller coaster. That was a really super smooth, by the way, too. That thing was buttery smooth, and it almost felt like Tron Light Cycle Run smooth. And there's an animatronic. There's a couple animatronics on that ride. They move really well. That's all I'll say with that. The launches are pretty punchy. And then there's also another little surprise in the ride when it comes to the launching that I was not expecting. So that kind of added to the thrill of it. Awesome roller coaster. It's like a mini version of Hagrid's. It's not as long as Hagrid's, so don't go in expecting the length of Hagrid's. It's a lot shorter than that, but it's not a short ride. It's worth the wait. I would wait. I would easily wait like 45, 50 minutes for that one. That section of track over the lagoon, awesome, beautiful. And the ride does have a soundtrack, so like you're hearing this music and you're getting a little misty-eyed because you're going over the water and through these high bank turns, and it was awesome. It was really cool. The kids are gonna really love this too, and definitely thrilling for them. I believe it had a 48 inch height requirement, or maybe even smaller. So quite a few people can do this one. And because it's so smooth, a lot of people will enjoy this. It's not rough. It doesn't feel nauseating or anything like that. There are some intense moments, but nothing more intense than Hagrid's. If you can do Hagrid's, you can for sure do the Hiccup Swing gliders. We didn't do the Gerstlauer flying attractions. The line for that one was kind of long, and again, I'd rather just explore a little bit more versus doing that. I'll come back to Epic Universe and ride those, but a lot of people were enjoying that attraction, so that's cool. Now we walked over to where the mead hall is, and the mead hall, that was like the first time I kind of really got misty-eyed, was in the mead hall. It wasn't open yet when we were in the land, but they let us walk through and check it out, and it was stunning, beautiful in there. A little different than the concept art, but the rock work in there, it was great. It definitely gave off vibes of Lost Continent, a little bit of like Dueling Dragons kind of. That's the vibe I was getting from it. And they had these beautiful, massive, like blankets or sewn quilts. I don't even know what you'd call those, but they looked like giant rugs. And oh my God, it was beautiful. I was literally like getting misty eyed just looking around, going, "This is incredible. This is epic. This is a spot in the park that you'd sit there and go, wow, this is epic." And I would love to, sit down and enjoy a meal in there. It was beautiful. And that little area too, it's like kind of the center of the town. There's a lot of kinetic energy happening there with the dragons. You see their tails moving. There's a little animatronic that apparently spits fire. That little guy was not working when we were there, but very large. And then you kind of cross the bridge over where the water ride is, and that's where the Toothless meet and greet is. We didn't take, so here's the thing with the pictures in the park. We didn't take pictures in the park. We only took one photo, and that was at the Luna statue, because again, we just wanted to, I wanted to spend more time enjoying and taking in all the little details. We didn't do photos, and that's why the thumbnail for this is not a photo from in the park. But then come to find out that when we did take photos, they didn't sync up to the card that they gave us. And then we also just found out through my friend was saying that that day that we were there, the cameras were all kind of like having issues, and we unfortunately weren't able to get our photos. So I emailed customer service to see if there's any chance to, to have them pop up. And if they do pop up, I'll post them on my socials. But I was really bummed out that we didn't get the photos from the Luna statue. But we didn't take photos in the How to Train Your Dragon Land either. But the Toothless meet and greet, oh, top tier. Top tier. He is so darn cute. And again, the kids are going to, I mean, even the adults, even I was like tripping out. It was really cool. He was beautifully done, and it looked real. It looked real. It looked like you were walking up and you were about to interact with a dragon. Like Universal really did bring out the entertainment for this space. And then they had a walk around character and a walk around dragon. It was magical. It really was. It really was magical. We saw, speaking of magic, we did see the Untrainable show. I've seen videos of the one in Beijing. Now, without too many spoilers, the theater is a lot different than the Beijing theater. So don't go in there expecting the same setup. It was when we walked into the theater, I was like, oh, okay, I actually kind of dig this a lot more because it feels more intimate and close, and you feel like you're right there with all the action happening on stage. And then there's the moment. And when that moment happens, I was like really trying to hold myself together. Very misty-eyed. I maybe a tear had came down in this moment. And there's a couple moments like that in the show, and it was magic. It was the closest thing you're gonna get to, like, honestly, it's the same thing. It's the same thing to a Disney magic moment. We go to Disney expecting these beautiful magic moments in their shows and attractions, and Universal's really hasn't been known for that as much as Disney has, respectively, right? Like, Disney's just known for that. Universal has gotten to the point now where they match that quality. And that show, when that moment happens and other moments in the show, it's magic. It really is. It's beautiful. It's really well done. It's immersive. It's believable. And I like seeing I think the family's going to really get a lot of value out of, like I can only imagine what the parents are going to feel when they see their child look up at things and just see the reaction. you know that is going to be a very rewarding moment. And the show is very simple to follow. It doesn't have the most complicated storyline because, again, it's a show for the family and kids. But let me tell you, there was a big audible gasp multiple times in the Untrainable show. If you want to get spoilers, you can watch the show on YouTube from Beijing, but just know that the one in Epic Universe is slightly different. Awesome. Overall, How to Train Your Dragon Isle of Berk was so much fun. Didn't try any of the food I wanted to because they had the mead, they had like those rice bowls. There was like some candy. Oh, the candy store. Oh my God, the candy store. It was called How to Treat Your Dragon. Super fun. But this beautiful mural on the ceiling, and yeah, it was stunning, stunning. So, shout out to the creative team for Isle of Berk. Really, really well done. I cannot wait for the trees to grow in, just as much as I can't wait for the trees to grow in Celestial Park. When they grow in with Isle of Berk, oh man, it's going to take it to the next level because it'll feel even more immersive. And there's also like little animatronics, like just kind of hanging out in spots. Like there was a little section with three baby animatronic dragons. They were fighting over some fish. So yeah, it's awesome. It's fun. You walk around smiling and just feeling uplifted and happy, and you hear the music throughout the entire space. Again, the soundscape here is really well done, and it's going to be fun to see everyone's reactions to all this stuff, because like all the team members and then like all the team members guests, like all of us were just wowed. And it's like, if you could impress the team members and all of us seasoned theme park nerds, then you got really something really good on your hands. Going back to the roller coaster really quick, Hiccup's Wing Gliders, we sat near the front. I want to try the back row because I'm a backseat rider kind of guy. I want to try the back row on that coaster because I want to see how forceful it is. In the front, there's a couple turns that you can feel. And my friend had mentioned, like, oh, this ride kind of has like a Big Thunder Mountain goat moment, and it kind of does. There's a moment in the ride that's very similar to the goat on Big Thunder Mountain. So just keep an eye out for that when you ride it. Okay, let's move on to Dark Universe. I wasn't sure if I was going to talk about Dark Universe first or last, but I'm going to talk about Dark Universe first. Unfortunately, I was so bummed. Unfortunately, the monster ride was down all day. my luck, right? My luck. I remember when they told my friend that it was down, my friend was like, Dylan, you're not gonna like this. And I'm like, and I was devastated. I was so devastated because that was like the one ride in the park that I was really looking forward to. But it's okay. It's a technical rehearsal. Things like this are going to happen. And hey, it gives me more of an excuse to go back. So let's start off with the front of the portal. The portal is amazing. This is the land that's closest to the hotel, which, by the way, the hotel is just towering over everything. Looks great. But you walk into the portal, you can hear the lightning, you can hear the laughing, the sounds of the monsters, and this eerie vibe. And it's got a beautiful purple motif on the LED panel. And you go from the panel to an old, decrepit, I don't even know what, like a shack or something, into a graveyard. And you got the mausoleum right there. And then you got the graves all dug up and they're just all messed up. And they have fog billowing out of the bushes. Oh my God, I was in heaven. I was I was in heaven because as a horror fanatic and someone who loves Halloween and the classic monsters, I mean, this is what we've always wanted. And I was like shaking. I didn't cry or anything. I probably would have cried on the monster ride if it was open, but like I was trying to hold myself together, but I was like my heart was racing because I was so immersed. You can kind of see the hotel off to the right. Again, trees haven't grown in. Over time, you probably won't see the hotel. In the land, when you're in the middle of Darkmoor, if you turn around, you can see Helios there. So it's a little kind of takes you out of it a little bit. But when you turn back around, you just kind of look at Darkmoor back. It incredible. That castle, the Frankenstein castle. Oh my God. I mean, it just towers over Darkmoor. It was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful. And the soundscape in Darkmoor is done by Danny Elfman. So good. It was so good. Yeah. I wish we had more time in Darkmoor. I really do, because it does get crippled with the monster ride being down. So it was one of those things where I'm like, okay, we have to make sacrifices. Let's just traverse to other worlds because there's things that are open in other worlds or there's more experiences. So let's just do that. So I definitely want to go back and spend more time in Darkmoor. But from what I saw and what I was able to experience, gorgeous. It is everything that I've wanted in a spooky themed land, like a horror themed land. It's awesome. Went on the werewolf coaster. That was one of our last rides of the evening. We did werewolf and then we finished off with Stardust Racers, which I'll tell you about that story in a little bit. But we did the werewolf coaster, and around that time we did it, it was starting to get gloomy, and it just added to the whole environment of Darkmoor with the fog and everything. It was just awesome. It was awesome. Uh, Now I went in with the expectations of like Flight of the Hippogriff, Gadgets Go coaster, that kind of vibe for the werewolf coaster, because the werewolf coaster is not very long. It's very short. It's essentially the land's Flight of the Hippogriff or Sierra Sidewinder. Just go in expecting that. Some people, I feel like, had really high expectations for the coaster itself and didn't level themselves properly. So then people get off and they're kind of disappointed. Just go into the werewolf coaster knowing that it's essentially the land's Flight of the Hippogriff. It's not the longest roller coaster. I would maybe wait 30 minutes or less for it, to be completely honest. I wouldn't wait any longer than that. But I do like the outdoor queue. That's the one of the parts of the park where the trees were really grown in. And then the load station's really pretty, very simplistic. It's kind of open air. This ride is manufactured by Mach. They make those spinning coasters. Again, Sierra Sidewinder all the way. It's a free spin. It's not controlled. So the minute you leave the station, the spinning mechanism unlocks and you're kind of freely spinning. So that means, depending on the weight distribution in your car, you could either spin pretty lightly or you can be going like Mach 5, which the people behind us were going like Mach 5. And I almost peed my pants because I was laughing so much. It was hilarious. But I will say, the monster coaster, the werewolf coaster, was a lot more fun than I thought it was going to be because my expectations were set. Like they were, I'd already set them. I already knew what I was getting into. But that first launch was a little bit more punchy than I thought it was going to be. And I was like, oh, damn, this is a little bit more than I thought. And the interior space of that shack looking thing with the werewolves, really cool. The werewolves are very large, but you fly right by them. You can see why they didn't want to do anything too crazy. Uh, but overall, they looked really good. And there's a there's a cool moment that happens in that spot of the coaster, and then the second half of the coaster it was just so much fun. It was really fun. I would do it again. Again, 30 minutes and under. Yeah, let's jump in line and do the werewolf coaster. I could see a lot of people enjoying it. And I think it's a really great ride to get the kids used to the monsters. Over time they might have the courage to do the Monsters Unchained attraction, but the werewolf coaster was a good choice for Universal to do something that maybe more kids can do, that they're maybe a little too scared to do the big dark ride. But werewolf coaster, unexpectedly a lot more fun than I thought. Yeah, it was good, solid. As a fun little addition. Um, I had just enough time to peek in the Burning Blade Tavern. Pretty small in there, but I dug it. It was super dark, and I'm like, I'm gonna be in here all the time. If the park wasn't closing in 15 minutes, I would I would spend an hour with a drink and just enjoy, because that bar that'll be the most popular. I have a feeling it's going to be just as popular as Oga's Cantina at Hollywood Studios and Disneyland. That is that is going to be the most popular bar in the park, hands down, hands down. It's so cool. And then we saw the windmill ignite from a distance when we were on Stardust Racers last ride of the night. That thing blew up, and yeah, I literally was. We were about to get on Stardust Racers, and my friend was like, "Oh my god, look at the windmill!" And I literally was like, "Holy, that is so cool! That is amazing!" So overall, the Dark Universe Land, I think, is a knockout of the park. It really is, and I haven't even seen the monster ride yet. I'm already enjoying it, and I can only imagine now how much more I'm going to enjoy it with the addition of the monster ride being online. Oh, the bathrooms. Those are my favorite bathrooms in the park too. Darkmoor in Dark Universe has the coolest bathrooms. Slight spoiler alert here, but the toilets are all black. So cool. Everything was black with a wood texture in there, like a cottage kind of, like, European look. A little dark in the restroom. It was really good. I love the restrooms in Dark Universe. The black toilets though are so funny. Like, what a cool choice. Like, could you imagine that meeting? Like, oh, what should we color the toilets? Oh, let's do black, right? That'll work. It's so cool. Darkmoor was awesome. Dark Universe, the way it's all set up. Igor was running around. Uh, there was a Bride and Frank meet and greet going on. We didn't see them, but people were loving that. Didn't get a chance to see the inside of Das Steakhouse or any of the other things. Again, we just didn't have, like, there's not enough time. There's not enough time to experience everything at Epic Universe in one day. There's no way. There's just no way. And I can spend a couple hours in Dark Universe. Because as a fan of all that stuff, like, you just want to be in it. You don't want to leave. And Darkmoor had a nice. It's funny. Darkmoor had. By the way, Darkmoor again is the little town that is in Dark Universe. But Darkmoor had this, like, charming little vibe to it, but it was also, like, kind of scary. Like, it had it had Halloween Horror Nights vibes to it, but also kind of Fantasylandish. Like, it was very inviting, but also very creepy. It was cool. I dug it. That was awesome. Dark Universe for the win. It was definitely. No, okay. Because the monster ride was down, it was my second favorite land in the park. I know, controversial because I love the monsters and horror and Halloween and everything. But it's only because the ride was, I think if the ride was up, I would have put it at number one. But right now, the best land I think from what I saw and what I experienced was Potter, the Ministry of Magic. Y'all, that Potterland is the best Potterland that Universal has ever made. 1000%. That world is, it was stunning. It, it was so incredibly stunning. The portal for that one, gorgeous. And the LED screen was this beautiful blue, kind of like the blue that's behind me. It just beautiful. And you can kind of see the street through the portal. So it's giving you a little tease there. And then you go through the portal and you're met with this wall, very metro, subway-ish kind of wall. We chose to go right and go around the corner. And then you see the archway. And I was just like, I was sitting there going like, oh my God, this is massive. And then you turn the corner even more and then you see the street. And I had to stop. I had to stop and I started crying. It was just hitting me so much because one, you're in Paris and I've gone to Paris. I went to Disneyland Paris in 2023 and we were in Paris for like 5 days, I think. So we had a little time to like, explore the city and we walked through, it was like midnight one night we got back from Disneyland Paris and part of the metro was closed. So we had to get off early and walk like a couple miles back to our Airbnb. And walking through the streets was like at late at night, but with so many people out still enjoying their time was just beautiful. But it felt like that. It felt like I was in Paris. It felt like I was in Europe. And all those memories started coming back. And then I was just overwhelmed with the details. Like, guys, this is if you don't walk away from visiting this land thinking that it's cool, in my opinion, you're not a theme park fan. Like, you are not a theme park fan if you don't think that this is a showstopper. I was a wreck walking down the street. It was just, it was epic. Again, it was epic. And we turned the corner towards the right where like the scary part of Paris is, kind of like their version of Nocturne Alley, and there was an interactive element there that was really well done. But just the details on the walls, and like there was like these newspapers all plastered all over the walls, and it felt like you were in the city. It felt like you were in Paris, and it. I didn't want to leave. I did not want to leave this space because it was gorgeous. It was gorgeous. Unbelievable. The amount of detail that Universal put in this. I mean, it was just, and another one of our friends, they'd gone to Paris as well, and same thing, like sunglasses came off, and like was just looking around, going, "Oh my God!" Like when we walked in, I was like, "You got to be kidding me! This is unlike anything I've ever seen, like from a Potterland or just it, or just lands in general. Like it was just so pretty. It reminded me of something you'd see at Tokyo Disney Sea. Like if you were at Tokyo Disney Sea, walking around the park, put a blindfold on, and then someone magically transported you to the Wizarding World Ministry of Magic, and then you took the blindfold off, you wouldn't even know that you left Disney Sea. You would think that you were still there. 1000%. Like I will die on that hill. And I know some people can't like comprehend that Universal can also match Disney's same energy, but they absolutely can. After going through Epic Universe, they absolutely can match the same quality, if not better, than what Disney's able to do. That land was the closest thing, if not the same thing. Yeah, I'm not even going to say the closest thing. That is the same thing that American audiences are going to get to Tokyo Disney Sea. Absolutely. I would argue that till the death. That was the most beautiful land I've ever seen Universal do. And the cafe at the front, oh my God. The cafe was so pretty. You walked into the cafe and the tile detailing was just magical, and the everything about it was unreal. Unreal. And it like almost gets me emotional talking about it because it really was something special. Like you can tell a lot of heart and passion went into that world because everywhere you look, you're immersed in this environment. You are so immersed that I forgot that I was in Epic Universe. I forgot that I was in the United States. I thought that I was in Europe in some magical world. That's what it feels like. That's exactly what it feels like. It doesn't feel like out of all the worlds, I would say that one is the most immersive. Super Nintendo World's pretty immersive as well because you really can't see the outside world there. But in the Ministry of Magic, oh my God, wow. Really, to sum it all up, wow. It is a beautiful showcase of art and design. It makes the France pavilion at Epcot look like child's play. Like it's such a night and day difference, right? That and like, hey, the that pavilion's gorgeous in its own right. But when you've done that and then you go to the Universal version, you sit there and go, "Oh my God!" Like it's amazing. It was next level, and so much to explore. The shops were beautiful. The cafe was just breathtaking. And then the main attraction in the world is the Battle at the Ministry, and it hasn't been open at all for any of the team member previews, so I wasn't expecting it to be open. And lo and behold, it wasn't open either. But they let us walk the queue, and that is like, as of right now, and I need to do it again, but as of right now, it's the best queue I've ever walked through. I'll say it. It is the best queue for a ride that I've seen so far. And I've been through a lot of queues all over the world. It's the best one I've seen. Sorry about it. Sorry about it because that the fog effect was not working for the Metro Flu. But once you walk through that, which is very similar to the platform 9 3/4 effect, or the walkway, very similar. You walk out of that into the grand reveal. Holy shit. That was the best reveal I've ever seen. And I thought Rise of the Resistance had it, right? The Star Destroyer reveal from that pre-show is gorgeous. I am not talking bad about the Rise of the Resistance queue at all. That Star Destroyer scene is top tier, one of the best reveals ever in a queue for an attraction. But Universal was able to kick it up a couple notches with the atrium. It is so large. And for me personally, what it does to make it edge out the Rise of the Resistance reveal is that you're actually in that space for a bit longer. Because at Hollywood Studios and at Disneyland, they rush you through that thing so fast. They just want you to get onto the next room, and then the next room is just this really long extended hallway. Not here. You're in that moment for a minute, and you're also exiting through that moment. So you have plenty of time to appreciate it. And that is a really big reason as to why I think it's the best reveal in any theme park queue right now. Obviously, that will change as time goes on and rides get crazier and crazier. But right now, that is the best reveal in the world for a queue. And I'm not trying to like, yeah, we're gonna push up, screw you, Disney. Like, no, Disney makes some incredible stuff, incredible. But Universal's able to do it too, and they did it. They did it with the Ministry of Magic. And after that room, after you're done, I had to change my diaper like 400 times. I literally soiled myself so much in that room. They had to clean up the floor. But like once you leave that, you enter it kind of dips back down, and then it opens back up into another room. And like I was going through the queue and I'm like, where the hell are we? Where are we going? Where are they putting all this? And like the tile work is so intricate. I think it's like a plastic, because I don't know if it's not, and it's an individually placed tile. Shout out to Universal for it's all over the place. It's very lavish looking. It's very posh. That's what it reminds me of. When you walk in, it's very high end. Uh, yeah, it's beautiful. And the tile changes as the queue goes on. It gets to a purplish color in some rooms, and then you get to Dolores Umbridge's office. That room is really, really pretty. The gold accents in there, beautiful, and the little house elf that's in there is next level. She's a little animatronic, and she moves so smoothly. It's yeah, they're matching Disney's energy here with the animatronics. I won't say any more, but it's just the whole entire queue was like a master class of design and intricacy. Like, I mean, there's just so much. And like, you don't want to keep, like, you want to stop and enjoy. You don't want to keep moving. It's one of those queues where, one, it's really long, so you get to enjoy it. But like, you kind of don't want to move on to the next room because you really want to enjoy the space that you're in for just a tiny bit longer. So honestly, like, I wouldn't mind waiting in line for the Ministry of Magic if the queue alone is worth a wait. Like, it's like an attraction in itself. It was that impressive. And I think if that is any indication of how the ride is going to be, we are in for something very special, because that whole experience was just, I don't even, I can't even, I don't even know what else, how to else to describe it other than it's one of the best things you're ever going to see. And then you go back out into the land, and then, yeah, you're met back up with the beautiful city streets of Paris. Beautifully done. That land was incredible. The show, to be completely honest, was okay. The circus show. The queue was gorgeous. The pre-show, really fun. The show itself was cool, but to be honest, I would rather see the dragon show. If I only had to pick one show, I would do the dragon one. I wouldn't wait a long time for the Harry Potter show, but don't take that as the show being horrible or anything. There's probably a lot of people that are going to enjoy the Harry Potter show. a lot of people. And I've heard from some of my other friends that they really enjoyed the show. But for me, I just wanted a little bit more out of it without spoiling what happens in the show. I just needed more, um, I would say, magic. I just wanted a little bit more of that. Other than that, there's some cool technology bits in the show that are some pretty cool moments. There's a couple oohs and ah moments. But yeah, I think it's crazy because like out of this entire space, that's probably maybe the weakest thing of the Harry Potter world. And again, that's not me like saying it's this horrible thing. Overall, the Ministry of Magic world is the best Wizarding World I've ever seen Universal do. It is this culmination of what Universal's learned over the years. And I think everyone walking out of Ministry of Magic is going to be impressed. If everyone's been impressed with Diagon Alley and Hogsmeade, this is next level. It really is. I didn't want to leave. I wanted to stay in it. And we got drinks at the bar and we kind of walking around. And as we were walking around with our beverages, yeah, it was just a moment of like, I just want to sit down on the side of the street and enjoy Paris. Like, we're in Paris. What do you want to do in Paris? Should we go grab some food? Should we go sightsee? Like, that's what it felt like. It was awesome. Top tier. That that world is worth a very like pretty penny when it comes to like paying a ticket price. Like if you were to drop, yeah, that's worth. I wouldn't say it's worth the price of admission, but it's pretty close. Like if it had another ride and then maybe something else, and oh yeah, I mean it's that impressive. It really is. It's that impressive. It was unbelievable. And I know I'm repeating myself now, but I just don't know how else to describe something like that. It literally made me tear up, like if I was seeing something at Tokyo Disney Sea. That was a Tokyo Disney Sea was the last time I really teared up, really was getting emotional with some of the attractions and the sights and the sounds that I was seeing because I really appreciate design and I really appreciate art and its different genres. You know, like I can look at a building and go, wow, that's a really beautifully designed building. So go into the Potterland with that mindset, and what you'll see is just top tier grade A stuff. It's the best they've ever done. So it's pretty much all the worlds at Epic Universe. Overall, the park was incredible. I think it's worth the price of admission that people are paying right now. Uh, I think this is going to be a hot take, y'all. Get ready. Hold, buckle your seatbelt. I think it's the best park in Orlando right now. And that's me saying that with some of the attractions closed. Not everything was open, and we didn't get to experience everything. But as it sits right now, I would argue that it's the best park in Orlando for the overall package. You know, parks like Animal Kingdom are stunning. I love Animal Kingdom. It is a beautiful park. And when you really understand Animal Kingdom deeper, it it really opens up, right? Like there's so much to Animal Kingdom that is just special. Same with Epcot. Epcot's a really cool park too. But Epic Universe has more rides than both of those parks. And Epic Universe also has, I would say, moments from those parks and just other parks in general in Orlando. So when you kind of add it all up, like the amount of fun attractions that Epic Universe has, we didn't get off an attraction and go, oh, that was boring. We all got off the attraction and said, that was fun. That was cool. They have 2 shows that are pretty top tier. They have a lot of food options. There's a lot of drinking options. Like I feel like this is Universal's closest answer to drinking around the world at Epcot. There's so many different things you can grab in all of the worlds, except for Super Nintendo World. I think that's the only land that doesn't sell alcohol, and I think that's just because of Nintendo's deal. But and then just the fact that it has water features, and those all are integrated beautifully into the design. Uh, I feel like there's something for everybody at Epic Universe. When you add all those things together, it really does make it the best park in Orlando right now. And maybe Animal Kingdom will get better, or maybe another one of Disney's parks will get better over time with the addition of new rides, or maybe even Islands of Adventure will outshine it again. Because at the time, like I really loved Islands of Adventure. I thought Islands of Adventure was a top tier experience too. But because Islands of Adventure doesn't have the stage shows, and there's some things in Islands that are getting ready to get replaced, like the Lost Continent. Like we all know that that's probably on the chopping block. It, to me, it just doesn't meet Epic Universe's level. So right now, for those traveling to Orlando and wonder what the best theme park is going to be, it's Epic Universe. In 2025 and beyond, until something happens, it's Epic Universe. Epic Universe was so much fun. It's worth the ticket price. I want to go back. I could spend 2, 3, maybe even 4 days at Epic Universe. 4 days is on the extreme side, but like I'm a psychopath and I could do 4 days. Realistically, for a family that's planning a vacation, 2 days at Epic Universe is solid. Because I'm sorry, you can't get it done in 1 day. There's no way. There's no way you can get Epic Universe done in 1 day and not rush. Because like we were like running around trying to get as much done as possible and see as many things as we could. Like we tried to do all the bathrooms in the park because we wanted to see what the bathrooms look like. And Dark Universe has the best bathrooms. And I think Isle of Berk is probably right underneath Dark Universe. But I love the tile motif they got in the Isle of Berk one. But it's a 2-day park. It's a 2-day park for sure. Because you want to take your time, like I was saying earlier on, you want to walk through Celestial Park and really relax and maybe take a break. You want to go see the shows and get yourself out of the heat or whatever. You want to get in all those details. Like even in Super Nintendo World, like you want to play the games, you want to enjoy the food. So there's no way you can get it all done in a day. And when Universal was saying, oh, we want to make our resort a 5-day experience. Oh, 1000%, it's a 5-day experience now. You can do 2 days at Epic Universe, a day at Volcano Bay, and a day at Islands and Studios. That's 5 days. That's 5 solid days at Universal Orlando. They did it. They did it. I think it's incredibly doable. And when it comes to Disney, because I always got to bring up Disney in this because it's competition. I love to see competition because for us consumers, we win at the end of the day because when the Titans fight, we just get better and better things. When it comes to Disney, obviously Epic Universe is not going to destroy Disney and they're going to go out of business and stuff like that. We don't want Disney to go out of business. But Disney is going to really feel the pressure from Epic Universe, more so than they ever have ever from a competitor. You got to remember when Harry Potter opened up, Universal saw an amazing increase of attendance. I think it was like over 25 or 30% that they saw in Orlando. That same time frame, Walt Disney World only saw a 1% increase in Magic Kingdom, only 1%. So when they say, oh, well, a rising tide lifts all ships, that can be very true. But when your boat has holes in it, it's not going to rise as fast as the ones that are brand new. So Disney is about to receive a lot of pressure from Universal. It's great for us fans because that only forces them to really push themselves to create experiences that are just as good as Epic's, if not better. They want people to go back to their property. They don't want people staying at Universal. These are competitors at the end of the day. Disney doesn't want people staying at Universal. But with Epic Universe coming online, and Universal just now opened 2 new hotels with a 3rd one coming online here in the next few weeks, it's not the best news for Disney. It really isn't. And Epic Universe was an amazing time. It was so much fun. You didn't want to leave some of the worlds. You wanted to explore more. The shows were fun. The rides were fun. The park atmosphere was calming and beautiful and serene. And the Potterland was like almost like the cherry on top. And for me, like the Monsterland will probably outshine it. because I'm a little biased towards it, and eventually I'll get on the Monsters and Chained attraction, and it'll But right now, yeah, the Potter thing is the cherry on top of an already great experience. And then the food that we tried at Pizza Moon was great. The drinks were good. Like everything about it was epic. And it's only going to get better as time goes on, because during these technical previews, Universal is going to continue to learn and fix things and make sure things work. So I'm sure the next time I go back to the park, hopefully within the next few weeks, if they do AP previews, it's probably going to be even better. I'm excited for it. And I was so glad I was able to get this opportunity to go to the park with some really amazing people and experience an amazing theme park. Just to me, this is like what being a theme park fan is all about, and it was such a magical experience. It was the best Universal park I've ever been to, and it really is a shining moment for them. And I'm happy for Universal. I really am. It's awesome. The rides were great, and Stardust Racers. Stardust Racers is my new number one. So there you go. Those are my thoughts on Epic Universe. Those are my first impressions on Epic Universe. Things are going to change over time. I'm sure the park will continue to get better. There's some sightline things that I'm sure will improve over time, and there's some operational things that they'll work on as well. Like the rides having technical issues, like that comes with the territory. It's going to happen when you push the boundaries of technology. You're going to run into things like that. So if you go to the park and something is not up and running right away, don't be all mad and upset. Just give it some time. It might open up later on in the day. And yeah, the park's going to continue to evolve over the next few months as they open it up to the public. So I think if you go early, you're going to get an amazing product. You're going to love Epic Universe. And if you go a year or two from now, you're going to get an amazing product as well. Epic Universe is going to really change people's perception of Universal in general, I think. I think it's really going to change people's minds. And that's dangerous news for the competition. So I don't know. What are your let me flip it back to you. What are you most excited for when it comes to Epic Universe? What ride are you most excited for? I hope I didn't spoil too much. I tried to keep it as light as possible. There's still a lot of surprises in there. There's so many surprises. When you go to the park and you see it in person, you'll know what I'm talking about. But yeah, what are you excited about? Go ahead and let me know down below in the description. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I know it was a long one, but I love talking about this stuff. I'm super passionate about it, and I can't wait to go back to Epic. So be sure to stay notified by hitting the notification bells. And if you aren't already subscribed to the channel, you should do so, because it'll let you know every time I post a new video. Also, be sure to check me out on X and Instagram. Those links will be down below in the description. But until the next video, oh man, I still can't get over how amazing it was. I hope you have a beautiful day, morning, evening, whatever it is. And I'll see you next time in the parks, and maybe next time at Epic Universe. Bye.